There he is. They were both just sleeping a couple seconds ago. Steve, you ready to start the day or not? I know, it's an emotional day, isn't it? I guess for T-Rex and Steve, it's just another day. But for me, it's a pretty emotional day. It's like we have a ferry going by. Come on, Steve, let's go. It's 33 degrees, 10 o'clock in the morning. I thought maybe I could get out the door a little quicker, but waking up to heartbreaking news this morning and also trying to gather my thoughts on the weather makes it a challenge. Passing of Toby Keith was a kind of a shock for me. I never saw him in concert, but certainly a big fan. I guess that Red Solo Cup song was the one that got me the attention, and then put him on my radar, and then all his patriotic songs, and I didn't even know he was sick, so that's so very sad. And also today is the anniversary of a day that changed my life forever, really. Tony Petrarca and I are now great friends, but we did not know each other on February 6th, 1978, but we shared an experience as two young weather geeks watching a wall of snow come into New England, and we picked up about 6 inches of snow in just a couple of hours around mid-morning on Cape Cod, probably same in Rhode Island. They sent us all home from school, and then state of emergency was declared, first one ever in my life, and we were told to stay off the roads for a week, even though on Cape Cod the sun came out by the middle of the day and the snow was gone by about sunset because we were in the occluded air. Do I have time to explain all that? Not really. I'll try and find a graphic of it at some point. But Darius on Cape Cod this morning, it's snowing. Darius, he goes out every morning into the dunes of Cape Cod and sacrifices his fingers to bring us the snow. It's not really purely ocean effect snow on Cape Cod. There's some upper level energy associated with that departing storm from Nova Scotia. So this is really about day 4. It started on Friday of a high barometer nor'easter. The wind has been out of the northeast now since Friday. We were on the other side of the nation, and ice, still not totally solid ice, but it is cold outside again in New England. There's a block in the atmosphere. We've had these 3 extreme storms, and now they're mostly done, but not completely done. The one from Nova Scotia is way off to the east now, east of Newfoundland, but the back edge of the cloud is right here over Boston. Here's what it looks like, well, down on the ground. And then from the satellite image, you don't really have ocean effect clouds going into Attleboro with a wind from the north. The wind would have to be from the east. So it's more than just ocean effect with this snow on Cape Cod. Thank you also, Brandon in Harwich, for sharing that the ground is a little bit white in Harwich this morning. Meanwhile, the sun is out. Once you get to about Worcester and points west and north, it is the, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4th sunny day in a row. We're on a streak of sunny days and wind from the north and cold air here in New England between all the extreme storms. If you look at the Weather Prediction Center, WPC map for today, you see the just huge storm in the west covering so many states. And in the east, just a huge high pressure system and one tiny blue dot. That's the snow over Cape Cod. Otherwise, there's no precipitation. Maybe on the beaches of southeast Florida, there's still a little. Otherwise, no precipitation east of the Mississippi River Valley. And that storm that's going off to our south, off of Florida, is going to stay way out there. But it's going to have some impact on our weather. I think it's going to keep our air coming from the north and the northeast for another day. So the warmth that, I don't know, about 10 days ago, I said the first week of February looked like it would be record warm. And this has happened many times this winter where you get this high pressure system coming into southeastern Canada and keeping us opposite of record warm. It's very cold. It's not extreme cold. It's just kind of typical winter cold, but enough to keep ice in the bucket, but not enough to put ice on the water. The ponds, I don't even think are safe for skating around here. And places like Lake Winnipesaukee, sometimes you can land planes and there's an Alton runway on the water for planes, small planes, but that didn't happen this year. No, so it's been a very warm winter, but it's been plenty of snow in northern New England. So what's going to happen next? Well, this cloud is going to move back out or dissipate, so most of New England is going to have another dry couple of days. And eventually this high is going to get off to our south. But the more I look at it, the less I see warm, really warm air for much of New England. I think in southern New England, yeah, around here in Boston, we probably cracked 50 on Friday and may stay there over the weekend. There's going to be a couple of fronts coming through here. The rain in Southern California continues. I guess I should talk a little more about that. Really, it's a catastrophe. There was a dog that fell in. His owner tried to get him. The dog managed to scramble out on the side of this. They put the rivers there in those basins, and the dog made it out, but the owner of the dog needed to be rescued by helicopter by the fire department. Heroic rescues, but so much loss of property happening. Automobiles covered in mud, houses being undermined by mud and washing down the hill. It's been 3 days now it's been raining in Los Angeles, and it looks like the 2-day rainfall came in just over 7 inches right downtown Los Angeles, exceeded by only 2 other storms. Since records began in 1877, it happened in 1934. The record is 1934, and second place is 1956. So extreme weather is not new, but it doesn't matter. I mean, it's sort of this once-in-a-lifetime type weather. Like, I've never had another blizzard of 78, and people that were born since 78 haven't had one like that. The wind, changing the subject quite often here, on Blue Hill, the wind gusted to 84 miles per hour on February 6th, 1978. That's the record strongest wind. It was about 13 inches of snow that day, but it was a 2-day storm. It kept coming. And some in New England picked up 30 inches of snow in that blizzard of 78, but it was a very small storm. It only impacted a small portion of the area. But it was the 3rd major storm in 3 weeks. So, I talk about how this winter is rivaling 1990. See, his leg still is a little injured. This winter is rivaling 1978 and 1996 for the most extreme winters here in the Northeast. But coast to coast, this is the most extreme winter I've seen in my life. And we're hosting a webinar this evening at the Blue Hill Observatory with Bruce Anderson. He's a professor at BU, and he's going to talk about climate change and climate extremes. So you can sign up for that. That'll be at 6:30. So sign up, and I'll be the host, and you can ask questions and stuff. Anyhow, all right. Now back to our regularly scheduled forecast. That system now in California is going to be the one that we watch across the country. It's going to come across in bits and pieces. So we're finally going to warm up a bit on Friday. The wind is going to come around from the southwest. But just as quickly as it warms up on Friday, there's a cold front. It's a weak cold front coming through here Friday into Saturday. Some rain showers, snow showers in the mountains. So we'll be warming at the lower part of the atmosphere, but the upper part of the atmosphere is going to start cooling off again pretty quickly on Saturday afternoon. Sunday, there's another cold front. This is a stronger cold front coming down from the north. And then on Monday, we're watching another system, part of that California storm, come out of the deep south. And the guidance has been shifting all over the place now on this one. I mean, yesterday 2 days ago, I showed a major storm for southern New England. Then yesterday, it was missing us to the south. And then another guidance run came out and had it missing us to the west with warm air and rain next Tuesday. And then last night, here's the guidance from last night with the Euro, just complete winter hurricane storm to the south of New England, 970 millibars. That's just a blockbuster storm, missing us to the south for the most part, but clipping Cape Cod and the islands. If you add up all the guidance over the last 3 days and divide by all that by 4 or 6 or how many ever runs you've looked at, the bottom line is it comes out to a pretty impactful weather event, likely, or a couple of them, between next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and on the cold side for the most part. So I'm thinking we're going to actually get some real wintry weather here. My camera stopped. I don't even know where it stopped. I was talking about early next week, so I better go back to that part. If you add up all the different guidance over the last couple weeks, and you look at that sort of bomb storm that last night's Euro formed south of Cape Cod, I think the bottom line is we're going to end up with some impactful weather around here, and it's going to tend to be cold and snowy, I think, for the most part, but a wintry mix still in the offing. And then I was talking about how
Joe Bastardi is still going off on what he believes is going to be the strongest Arctic outbreak since 1985 for the lower 48 for this time of year. And I did not look up what happened in 1985. I was at Lyndon State College. And it's funny because at Lyndon State College, that's when I did a major paper on the blizzard of 1978. And that's how I learned why the sun came out on Cape Cod on February 6, 1978, because of an occluded front, which I don't have time to discuss now. Maybe tomorrow I'll discuss it. It was a 2-day storm. Many homes were washed into the ocean in Massachusetts, and there was practically no snow near Chatham or Nantucket, even as there was a blizzard with hurricane-force winds happening in Situate into Attleboro and Providence. So that was I call that the blizzard triangle now, from Boston to Providence to Brockton, to about Hingham, just south of here. That's where our worst storms happen, when the north wind meets the east wind there, from Narragansett Bay to right here in Weymouth. I call that the blizzard triangle, to go along with the blizzard loop that I explained yesterday. So lots of names I've been making up to explain the weather around here. Steve on Bodie's grave, talk about more emotions. Bodie looked a lot like Steve, and he passed away September 2020. Oh, yeah, out of focus. That was probably fairly symbolic. Trying to focus is very difficult lately. So it's going to get more active next week. Always something to talk about. An emotional day. I think for the end more, why don't I leave you with a time lapse of yesterday? The cycles of nature never stop. We're not on this earth forever. Gravity, time, watch the tide go out and the tide come in, and listen to some music from Toby Keith. I lifted off the internet. I didn't realize he was a party guy. He was also so strongly patriotic. Steve, stop. Steve is eating rabbit poop. Seriously? This day just gets more and more interesting, and it's so early in the day. So fitting, in memorial, we'll watch that time lapse and listen to Toby Keith singing. I didn't even realize it, from last year. Don't Let the Old Man In. Very emotional. So I'll leave you some of that. And the copyright infringements. Yeah, I got a copyright infringement yesterday for showing a little bit of the Grammy, even though I didn't have the sound up. So I'm getting a lot of copyright infringements, but that's okay. I mean, what am I losing, $1 or $2 a day when they don't let me monetize? So anyhow, I'll let you go with the time lapse and Toby Keith singing us out. All right, talk to you again tomorrow.
Don't let the old man in. I wanna live me some more. Can't leave it up to him. He's knocking on my door. And I knew all of my life that someday it would end. Get up and go outside. Don't let the old man in. Yeah, many moons I have lived. My body's weathered and worn. Just ask yourself, how old would you be if you didn't know the day you were born? Try to love on your wife and stay close to your friend. Toast each sundown with wine. Don't let the old man in.
That's an eagle. That's actually 3 eagles.
My body's weathered and worn.
This is amazing.
Eagles flying by the flag as we close this out. Hard not to believe in higher power.